So guys, as I said, my name's James Meager. I'm an old boy of the school here, head boy here in 2005, and was kept for the first 15. Also a board member of the Munro Boys High Rugby Committee. Can I acknowledge the tremendous work done by Nick and the organising committee for pulling this evening together tonight. Can I also acknowledge all of our sponsors for supporting our club here. The sponsors are listed on the boards down the front, so please go down, have a read, buy their stuff, and thank them for supporting us and all our boys. Now, just before I bring up the first speakers, a bit of housekeeping. In case of emergency, the exits are the doors you came in. There are also a couple out the side there as well. If there is an earthquake, please stop, drop, and cover, and wait for any shaking to subside and make your way to the exits. And our emergency assembly point is out on the rectory. Now before you guys, you have some platters provided by the Munro Boys High Hospital staff, so big thank you to Justin and the team for catering us here tonight, and I'm told more dinner will be provided throughout the evening, and desserts going to be available later on by the kitchenette, and tea and coffee available as well. Bar is open until 11 PM, and we'll call last drinks just before 11 for those hardy ones staying on. Please drink responsibly. Any irresponsible drinkers will be sent home with Ed Patterson soaked and warm. And there are a number of fantastic auction items tonight donated by supporters of Munro Boys High Rugby. Please make sure you visit the bar regularly in preparation to open your wallets and do give generously. This is our major fundraiser for the year, and every dollar does go towards helping the boys be competitive with some of those larger schools like Christchurch Boys and Nelson College, who seem to have an almost endless supply of funding. We've also got a few raffle tickets available for sale around the floor, so if the boys with the raffle tickets put their hands up. Well, they're all sold out already. Down there's nobody there. So please, when the boys come around to sell your raffle ticket, do buy a few of those with some great prizes as well. We'll just quickly run through how we're going to run tonight. Shortly, we're going to invite Munro Boys Rugby Chair Brett Isbister up to say a few words, and then we'll have Dave Thorpe from the school to say a few words on behalf of the school as well. Following a couple of words from Brett and Dave, we'll have a performance for our school's Pacifica group, led by Stephen Artu. And after a short break, we'll hear from tonight's guest, Grant Munro. So Grant's an ultramarathon runner who's recently returned running the Sahara Desert Ultra. We'll have a quick Q&A with Grant, and then following a second break, we'll have the first part of our auction tonight. So that's the big deal tonight. In front of you on the table, you have lists of auction items. Please have a read through those lists, identify what you would like to buy and buy it. If there are two people at your table who want it, just keep up with each other. It's the highest of the rings. Our auctioneer tonight will be Snow Buckley, who will run us through that. Following the first half of our auction, we'll then have a presentation of the first 15 jerseys, and the first will perform the school bucket. One more break, and in the evening we'll conclude the second half of our auction and some closing words from Head of Rugby at School, Ed Patterson. So do relax, enjoy, get yourself some drinks at the bar, and I'd like to kick off tonight's formalities by welcoming to the stage our chair of the Munro Boys High Rugby Club, Brett Isbister, to say a few words. Brett, come on up.
Boys High School Rugby Club. This is our fundraiser that we run biannually. It's really important for us in terms of making the books balance in the rugby club, so thanks very much for supporting us. Some of the things we've done over the past years out of this event is the container change rooms down at the Lows. So there's some of the things we've been able to do, and we're starting to do the car park extension down here as well. So this is the type of thing that helps us do that, as well as get a few teams around the countryside playing a bit of footy. So thanks for your support, it's much appreciated.
Thank you, Brett. Now I'd like to welcome up to Munro Boys High School Rector and Patron of the Old Boys Rugby Club, Dave Thorpe, to say a few words as well. Can I just get Stephen and boys, where are they based at the moment? Down there?
Kia ora everyone, bit of a unruly crowd I need back here, walking around, patrolling. Look, it's great fun to be here tonight, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Brett Isbister. He does such a fantastic job as chairman of the board, but also chairman of the rugby club. And today, I was very impressed that he stood in the rain for about 3 hours arguing with people who wanted to drive their car down to an already packed car park. So, well done, Brent. But also, I'd like to thank the whole rugby committee. It's an extremely well-run club, and it's a very successful club. There are 250 boys out of 700 to choose from. I don't think that any of the schools, rugby schools in this country, even though some of them will be much, much bigger than us, I do not think they would have a percentage of boys playing rugby that we do. So it's great. And the boys are strongly supported by parents. That's you, mainly you, many of whom are out there tonight. And that's another reason why rugby is so successful. So things at the rugby club are always good. It doesn't require me to step in. There's very few things that the school has to deal with, so thank you very much for doing that. I'd just like to thank Nicola and Nicola who's here somewhere. Thank you for you and your team for everything you've done tonight to put this thing together. Because to keep all the boys on the field looking sharp in their gear, as well as getting 3 travelling teams around the competition in the country and other tournaments that they go to, and a million other things that all cost money. So thanks Nicola for organising this fun evening for us to raise a few bob. And lastly, it was great to see all the boys out there today, on the lowers, on our park, at our place. It was awesome. There were lots of positives. There were a few hidings handed out, but there were lots of positives for every team. The Colts were looking sharp. That's our future, so that's a great thing. And our first showed heaps of courage and very, very, very close to beating a fairly good St Bede's side. And one interesting thing where I was standing, the St Bede's coaches went from being very cocky to very nervous. So in a very, very short space of time. So look, thanks for coming and enjoying the night. Thank you.
Excited to do the odd marathon, and then someone climbs them into running the Kepler track or one of those sort of events. And sort of the longer the event goes, the slower you get. So, and I just took it to the next level and the next level. So I sort of started out doing 100k runs, the odd 125k run. Then sort of for me, non-stop, everyone's got a number that they can sort of reach to. So for me, the longest run I've done is 100 miles non-stop, which is 165k non-stop, which was about 28 hours. And to give you perspective on that, we started running, this is up around Rotorua, we started running at say 4 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch black. So you run for an hour and a half, the sun comes up, you keep on jogging all day, you watch the sun go down, then we cruise through the bush all night, you watch the sun come up for the second time, you start seeing the trees move, there's things chasing you, you start hallucinating, and sort of 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning you might cruise into the finish line. And most people sort of make it home, about sort of 30 hours, 35 hours, for that sort of event. And once I've done a couple of those, I thought, well, that wasn't too bad, I wonder what's next. So from there, I sort of ventured back to some shorter distances, back to the Kepler track, which is a nice 65, 70k run, which is like 9 hours on the move. And then I had a few friends who were full of cheek, and a couple of them decided, how about we go overseas and try something different, and try some of the really long runs. So I got the gauze out of my pocket, got my visa card out, signed up to go to Mongolia, running through the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, and then after 2 weeks I found out none of them had signed up. It was just me. So talked to my sister, so she came over with me. So my sister, there's something wrong with the gene pool, mate, somewhere. So my sister and I headed off into the Gobi and run through the Gobi Desert, which is in Mongolia. So Mongolia is above China and below Russia, sort of squeezed in there. Genghis Khan country, it's amazing stuff. But the Gobi Desert is huge, it's enormous. So we hopped on a bus and we drove for 8 hours into the middle of nowhere at 65k on some beat-up old ex-Russian bus and started running through the desert. And it was basically you're doing 45k a day for 4 days, and then on the 5th day you might run say 80 or 90k's. And then on the 6th day, because it's all off-road, so on the 6th day, people are still crawling into camp, and then on the 7th day you have a nice little 20k to the finish line, drink a beer, eat a pizza, and drive 8 hours back out of these huge deserts in the middle of nowhere. So, and people always struggle with the distance, so to give it some sort of perspective, I stood out here with my backpack on and started running south. 256k is nearly Mosgiel if you're going south, just to give you sort of a bearing on on the distance of how far it is. And none of the running I do is on flat or on road, it's all off-road, because I'm way too old to run on that car seal and all that durable hard stuff. So yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at. And everyone enjoys the gear, which is quite an interesting one. So as James has just said, I've just come back from the Sahara Desert, and generally I finish everything I do. I'm a really good finisher, but in the Sahara Desert this year it was the hottest it's ever been for the event. So in the 37-year history of the running event through the Sahara, it was the hottest I've ever recorded. So there's a heat wave going through northern Africa. So from a wee white fella from Boots Pass, it was not the place to be. So I really struggled in the heat, as did a lot of people. So at 8:30 in the morning, it's 38 degrees. By 9:30 in the morning, we're into the mid-40s. It's got 42 to 45. And then by lunchtime, when we're running from 8:30, and by lunchtime, we're coming over these huge mountain ranges, the Atlas mountain ranges, down into these big waddies, which are like big, flat sand dunes. And it was into the low 50s, so 52 to 54. So at that temperature, you can't breathe the air because it's going to burn your throat and your lungs. So you have to wear a buff over your mouth with a little hint of water on it just to cool the air as it's going into your lungs. And I was starting to get blisters on the bottom of my feet, but not from the shoes rubbing, just from the heat of the sand and the reflective heat coming back up through my shoes. So I've got some reasonable sized blood blisters, but mine went so bad, being an old farmer wearing leather boots, it was I was pretty good. Some of the other people, I did some amazing sights, but and the sand in the Sahara is super fine. So as you're running down these bird sand dunes at times, the sand's sort of calf deep as you're going. So keep your feet safe. That was what I was running in. So it's like a farmer's gaiter, which is basically sewn to the top of my running shoe to keep the sand out of your feet. Which is a little bit insane, I think, but worked amazingly well, to be fair. And it was really good. So, but on the 5th day, the early hours of the 5th day, and that was a 90k stage, the 4th and 5th day. In the early hours, 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, I've been running for 18, 17 hours. And I got heat stroke for the second time, which is, if anyone understands, heat stress is when you're, Saturday up at the lake and you're sweating like and you can't drink enough water. But heat stroke's when you stop sweating, so like your core body temperature goes through the roof. And because we were in the middle of the Sahara Desert, we had a crew of doctors with us, but they were more vets than doctors, to be fair. They were a bit tough on us, but feeling agricultural and getting our body temperatures down. But it did work, but the second time around I just couldn't come back. And I had been, because when you overheat you can't hold any food. So for 3 days I've been struggling to hold food. So that 40% of the field DNF'd with heat stroke. But luckily this year no one died on the event, because the year before someone did die. But there was heart attack, there was 3 seizures, there was a fairly extreme end of the scale, but which my wife Liz isn't so keen on now. But yeah, so I'm home one piece. But it was interesting how these events work. But one of the amazing things about these events is that everything you do, you have to carry on your back. So I have to carry all the food I need for the week, plus I need a sleeping bag, and any clothes or anything extra that I want to carry is on my back. So that's a week's worth of food on your back when you leave. So this is my backpack, and in my bag here at the moment, in that bag I've got 6 kgs of rice at the moment, but that bag is what I survive on for a whole week. So in that bag I have a sleeping bag and all the food I'm going to eat for the week. And of course I'm burning so many calories, it's spectacular numbers, but I budget on eating 2,000 calories a day for my 7 days, so I carry 14,000 calories, but I'm burning 10,000 calories a day. So I'm burning 70,000 calories, but I'm only carrying 14 to eat. So at the end of the week, I'm way short on calories, like 35,000 calories short. To give you some perspective, that's like one of you not eating for 2 weeks. Completely stop eating for 2 weeks. Drink as much water as you want, but just don't eat. And so there's some spectacular numbers. Jenny Craig would just be blown out of the water to see some of the numbers we're getting produced. So my carb load before I go, and when I'm running, because I'm losing the first 3 days of burning off the excess that you do carry, and I enjoy a few beers, so I lose a bit of that. And then for the next 4 days, you're just eating your muscle mass. And by the 5th day, it's spectacular to watch. Like, my bum vanishes, chin, bare fat, legs. And this time in the Sahara, I lost 15% of my body weight. And that was all muscle mass, just about. And a little bit of body fat. Which, so I'm a different person when I come home to the one I left. So my wife sort of looks twice as I hop off the plane. But you do catch up quite quickly, which is quite interesting. And the courses are quite amazing. So this August I was in Finland, which is I went to the very top of Finland. So it's 200 kilometres above the Arctic Circle in Finland. So I'm way up there, like we are well up in the Arctic. So it's 24 hours a day sunlight. And it's bushes and trees, and just when you're getting up 2 o'clock in the morning for a sneaky pee and the sun's still sitting there, it's very, very weird. So, and up there we're running, so in the first sort of kilometre into the event, I was up to my armpits in a swamp, and 2 hours later I was cresting a hill like the Mount Dobson ski field. So that's what the course is like. It's really technical and big, which works alright for me because of where I live, but a few of the others struggle a wee bit with that, but and so some of the gear is always amazing. The one everyone was a bigger crowd is always harder to see, but my one luxury is because you're running in shoes all day, when you get to the camp you want a pair of jangles. So those are my jangles for the week. So the inners out of my hokers, and then a bit of elastic, boom, 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 make some jangles. And weird things like that. So. And everything you carry on the back is just a dead weight you really don't want. So in Finland, there was 150 of us turned up, and you run for your country. So they don't pick you, it's just the ones dumb enough to turn up and run. So there's 2 Kiwis turn up. In New Zealand, there's 20 of us that do this. Well, we call it super ultra running. So there's about 20 of us within the country that go around the world travelling. And I know sort of most of them there. And usually you do one a year if you're lucky, maybe one every 18 months. But so I rocked up to the start line, and out of 150 runners, I had the lightest backpack. I won the prize for the lightest backpack. So the first thing you start panicking about is, have I got enough food? Because there's 49 other buggers carrying more food than me, so I'm thinking, I don't know if that's a good thing, but and I did the same in the Sahara. I had one of the lightest backpacks. They had a minimum weight of 6.5 kgs, so to get through the checkpoints I had to sneak some rocks and some water into my bag to get the weight up so I could pass the gear check, and then after that I can hoist a bit of stuff out. But because everything you're carrying is just dead weight. So, and everyone likes to see the bed. This is what I'm sleeping on for the week. So that's it. After 18 hours running, you'll sleep on anything, but on the 7th day, when you're beaten up, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But like 4 puffs, that's my bed for the week. So, it is an interesting sport. But, you have to even carry your own toilet paper. And everything weighs. So as you're going through it, you start counting sheets. It's spectacular numbers and how that works. So it's an interesting sport. But,
That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Grant. Thank you. We're going to do a couple of questions. Grant's going to stand, so now I'm also obliged to stand, so thanks for that, Grant. Hey, look, you mentioned a couple of little quotes there. You did a nice little 20 kilometres. and you started at 100 kilometres. How does a human being start at 100 kilometres as you first go? Like, how did you get into this? Where do you start from?
I was sitting at the Temple Pub and had too many beers one night, and a couple of my mates said, come and run the route with me. And I'm like, what? Bloody hell, what do I want to do that for? No, come on down, it'll be great fun. So away I went, and I got down there, and I got what they call a runner's high for the first time, and probably just about the last time in my life, running along the route with me. And there's a couple of people down the back here who have done that a few times as well. And it's an amazing run, the route being track, and you do it in a day. And I crossed the finish line and thought, this is the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I'm 45 at the time. I've never run anywhere in my life. And it just sort of went from there. So
you started at seriously 45?
Yeah, I started running at 45.
Started running at 45. So there you go, Paddy. So you're running through places like, you're running through the Arctic Circle, you're running through the Sahara. What do you do in those moments where surely you must hit a brick wall, you're into, kilometre number 163 of 165. How do you keep going at that point? What are you thinking, well, what's your training doing to get to that point?
I suppose a good example is I was running up at the Tarawera runs, which is up at Rotorua. It's a world famous running event. There's about 2,500 people run up there. Half of them come from overseas. And I was doing the 165k around the 8 lakes all around Rotorua. It's just the most amazing place. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm running through the bush. I'm 6 hours from the nearest anybody. And I come across a girl lying in the fetal position on the track, bawling her eyes out. She's 23. And I mean, she has lost the plot. She's curled up there. It's pitch black. You can't see this one from your nose. And she's just bawling her eyes out. And when you don't know what to do, like there's no one else for miles around. So I stopped and I said, helped her up and sat there and she just lost the plot. And I said, what are you going to do? She said, I'm going to sit here and have a little cry. And she just had a complete meltdown. And I sat with her for 5 minutes and I had a bit of food, like sugar, because that's probably what she was lacking, was a bit of sugar. So I pumped a bit of sugar into her. And she just curled back up in the fetal position and bawled her eyes out. I'm like, well, so then I just had to leave her. I just said, there's nothing else I can do. But I got to the finish line, because she had 65k to go, got to the finish line, and she arrived in half an hour behind me. So she had a complete meltdown, caught her breath, and she thought, well, there's only one way out, and that's to get back up and keep running. So she got herself back up and kept running, and I think probably in that one run that she learned that in half an hour, things will get better. So if you have a really bad moment in life or anything, just in half an hour's time, things will get better. And running just amplifies that 100 times. So you just think, I'll walk for 10 minutes because I'm having to complete, things aren't working, and away you go.
Well, that's a good message, because in half an hour the auction starts, so Hey, you talked a bit about having a bit of sugar on you and the food you carry. So 6 kilos of rice. What do you carry with you? What are you eating? How do you cook that, or was it just going straight in and burning it up as it goes?
There's a guy in most of New Zealand, Nathan Farway, and he wins a lot of the God's Own and the world's best adventure race, basically. The guy's a freak of nature. And he's got a company called Real Meals, and they make the most amazing freeze-dried food. So, because I'm weighing grams, I cut the handle off my toothbrush. That's how anal you get about the weight. And he's got the most calories per gram in his freeze-dried food of anyone on the planet. So I always buy food from him in Nelson. And yeah, he makes some awesome Thai curries, which you spice up in bits and pieces. And every now and then I like a bit of beef jerky, or a bit of biltong, as I see over here, or potato chips, or a bit of comfort food. So I'll always take a flat white coffee in a sachet. So on the 4th day, I've got this wonderful treat. It's like a cup of coffee, just weekends, but it gives you something to look forward to as you're going away.
How much water would you take in on something like the Sahara? How does that work? Do you get that provided to you? Do you get to carry that with you as well? How does it all work? You must just be running through it.
On the Sahara, they give you 12 litres of water every 24 hours per person, and you have to manage your water. So they give you 1.5 litres or 3 litres at set points, and you've got to manage your water supply. So, and that's all your water for everything. It's your cooking and drinking. And when it's 53 degrees, it's coming out of you a lot faster than 12 litres a day. So you've got to try and manage your water, which is one of the harder things to do. So you're not washing, you're not doing anything, you just do your bones. And as you come into an aid station, if you've got 200 mils of water, you tip it on your head to evaporate off you. But yes, water's the only thing they provide, everything else you carry.
Now you do have a real job as well. You are farming up in Kimball, and you obviously talk about you've got kids as well. So how does the sport impact your other commitments, work, kids, family? How does it all work together?
I think I'm lucky. I've got my knees and ankles. So to finish at the Sahara, I turned 53. So I'm sort of getting nearer the end of my longer distance stuff, sort of thing. But then there was another guy I was running with was 68. A Japanese guy this year was 74. He was a freak of nature, but 74. So I might have 5 years of this maybe left, picking events to go. But I think it's good your kids see you do cool stuff. So I think every parent, you do cool stuff that your kids go and go, wow, mum's great or dad's good, or that's what it's about, being role models for our kids.
So you're right back in the country, is it straight back on the farm, straight back to work, or do you get a bit of R&R, a bit of time off? How does that work?
No, I've got a really big boss.
Yourself? Any advice you'd give for anyone in the room who's, in their mid to late 40s, looking to take up the sport for the first time? Any advice on where to start, how to start, how you get into this, where to set your expectations, and how to start it?
There's a really good rule of thumb. So if you go out and run, walk for 5k, if you enter an event, you can enter 10k. Because the adrenaline of being with 300 other people doing something will carry you twice as far as what you think it will. So if anyone in this room can walk and run basically 5k, so you can enter a 10k race tomorrow, no problems at all. And the amazing thing is, at the front of the field you see these freaks of nature running like nobody's business. But mid-pack to the tail, it's run, walk, and go from there. And that's sort of how I work it. Because some of them, I'm always chasing different people. And that's the best philosophy you can have. Start slow and... You can't train, because most of it's in your head. Like 95% of it's in your head. So it's learned experiences. So every time you have a failure, you learn more from a failure than you ever do from a finish. So I've had about 3 DNFs, food poisoning, and a couple other events. And I'm lucky that I'm a wee bit next. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm reasonably comfortable. Well, I didn't think so when Mr. Mack used to make us run around the rectory at school. Yeah, luckily I can just keep plodding on for years.
Final question of the idea, Grant, and it's one for us as a rugby club. Just for you, what does it mean to be able to be tonight to support Touring Boys High Rugby?
Well, I spent 4 years or 5 years following my son Angus through Boys High at all the rugby games. I tried to make every game he played. And I couldn't get over the quality of coaching they get at Boys High. It's spectacular compared to other schools. I think it's really, really good. And I think the one thing, once you're with Boys High, that you really do appreciate is Paddy. Especially in a public school. Like the private schools can afford to employ someone. Boys High's got Paddy and it's poor wife. But Paddy running around behind the scenes, organising all the boys' rugby trainings, getting them to games, coaches for the seasons. That's a huge job. And once you've left Boys High, you actually really appreciate, and the boys really appreciate, just how good Paddy was. It takes some of them a while to get there, Paddy, but they really do appreciate that part of it. And that's the reason I come tonight, is because of people like Paddy and Kent and Ants and these guys and Brendan doing this amazing job for Boys High Rugby. And their kids have left school, but they're still here doing amazing stuff in school, so that's why I couldn't say no when they trained me.
Brilliant, thanks, Grant. Well, it's supposed to be a roast of Paddy, but that was a bit of a celebration of it. Grant's just going to turn out his beard. He's going to roll off his beard and put his shoes away. We're going to take another quick short